It is worth noting that fascism, then as now, has always been reactionary to a chaotic left, and that every smug late-night monologue and condescending champagne socialist has played as much a part in creating this as anyone else. Civil society is a balance between freedom, which left unchecked leads to the chaos of anarchy, and order, which left unchecked leads to tyrannical authoritarianism. The entirety of the American system is nothing more than a fairly ingenious device intended to keep those forces in balance. They are exactly what is meant to be checked and balanced by checks and balances. That system formally came to an end in October 2001 with the signing of the Patriot Act. The firewall between the legislative and the executive was removed, and the fundamental forces of politics have been entangled in an ever-intensifying series of reciprocal relations that nobody seemed to notice until now. The presiding forces have had every incentive to turn up the temperature and cynically exploit the fears and frustrations of the American people, and this is exactly what they have done. The most recent iteration of the left ignored the entire canon of immigration law in an attempt to secure an electoral majority for themselves for the foreseeable future. To this end, they have defrauded the American people of billions in revenue, immediately following a period of 20+ years of bipartisan military failure, which had already undermined faith in the system. They chose to abandon the rule of law, and in so doing created a problem that only some measure of tyranny can solve. The current consequences of abandoning the rule of law are on full display, as the will to order at all costs has become a higher priority than civil liberty. Regardless of where one stands on particular incidents, the simple fact is that thousands of armed agents with billions of dollars in resources are deployed onto the streets of America. They are accountable to no one but the executive. Ernst Röhm was celebrated for his ability to restore order to the chaos of Weimar Germany at all costs, and to many, Christi Noem enjoys the same status. Both organizations, the Sturmabteilung and ICE respectively, are composed of mostly dejected individuals, veterans of wars lost in shameful fashion, driven by a frustrated will to power. They are the casualties of a nation that they trusted in their youth and are blinded by the empty promises of a man who promises to restore order to it. Both they and their opposition, inhabitants of the tempest that has been the reciprocal erosion of law, order, continuity, and meaning with every election cycle. The details of the latest incident are relevant only as a Rorschach test. The facts support either position with uncanny equivalence. Reality is gray enough for each side to see themselves justified by it. The shot fired does not determine whether the United States is headed for fascism, but the official reaction to it does. Before her blood was dry, she was officially labeled a terrorist. Before her funeral, she has been othered by every media outlet due to her lifestyle, as anyone who stood up would be. And before a crime scene could be established, the FBI has all but guaranteed that there will be no investigation. These are the things that matter. This is what should give anyone to whom the Constitution is a religious text cause for concern. The indisputable truth is that there are forces in motion around every corner that the founders of this nation made it their life's work to render impossible and would have given their last breath to defeat. The question for the present is what is next? The only sure answer is that the current trajectory, if left undisturbed, will sleepwalk with the assistance of Netflix and Super Bowls, either into the chaos of revolutionary France, where the mob threw off the reins of government and terror was unleashed in every direction, or to the order of authoritarian Europe in the 20th century, where government threw off the consent of the governed and terror was unleashed with brutal precision by the few against the many. The only question capable of changing the future, the one that set Solzhenitsyn's pen in motion almost a century ago, is unfortunately the one that almost no Americans, whether they are cheering the death of Rene Good or the death of Charlie Kirk, are willing to ask. What part have I played, whether by action or inaction, in creating this situation? This question will demand an answer sooner or later, most likely later, considering that people have developed the empathy of scorpions.